Hi, Robin. Good morning.
Maria, great to be with you.
It's great to be here as well with you. I'm a new member, like I said, of the 5 a.m. book club, and I'm very excited. I'll let
Fantastic.
you know how my day goes today. And I've been reading your new book, which we're going to be talking about today, and I'm loving it. I'm about 60% of the way through. I'm super excited, very much into it. I think it's so necessary for the world, and I'm just so ready to dive into it.
Well, thank you. I spent 16 months during the pandemic writing the Everyday Hero Manifesto. And as I say in the early part of the book, we live in a world where so many of us are waiting for heroes. But why wait for them when we can become one of them? And I think we live in such an interesting time. There's the pandemic, there's wildfires, there's social unrest, there's climate change. And so the Everyday Hero Manifesto is really about how do you become the hero of your own life? How do you become more productive? How do you become happier? And how do you take back your power in this world where so many people are feeling very powerless?
Mhm. One of the things I love about the book is that it's very real. You use examples of everyday people throughout every single chapter. I love also that every manifesto or every point is very concise, and you picked the right words for every sentence that was on that book, in my opinion. And I'm not just saying this because it's you and you're well known. It really is a very well written book. So congratulations.
Thank you. It was an exhausting book to write because I wanted, as you say, Maria, I was trying to get every word right.
Yeah.
Yes, it's a very real book. There's all the different stories as well as the models and the systems, but I think it's the most vulnerable book I've ever written. You know, I wrote so much about some of my struggles and my own challenges. And that time, 10 years of my journals were taken from me. And I thought that I think it was Carl Rogers who said, what is most personal is most universal. And so I thought if I can share very personally about what I've gone through and the lessons I've learned, it would resonate with a lot of people and people wouldn't have to make the same mistakes I've made. So thank you. I put a lot into the book for sure.
Yeah, I can definitely see. And I see you love Italy. You're in Italy now, right?
I'm in Rome. Yes, I love
You're in
Italy.
Rome.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. There
Well,
was a lot of that within the book also intertwined. And then I saw it on your Instagram and it looks amazing. And that's also something I thought that was very important. And maybe we can start with that. One of the things you mentioned in the book that is very important for you is nature, going out for walks, being in contact with your surroundings and creating a really healthy environment to thrive in. So maybe we can begin on a little positive. And then I do have a few questions along the way about the difficulties and challenges that many of my followers, and I'm sure many people are watching us, face, that maybe you have some tips for. But why don't we start with one of my favorite subjects, which is Mother Nature and connecting to oneself and really that presence that every day. You mention it a lot throughout the book, the little details, the flowers, the beauty in life. Yeah, can you tell me more about that?
sure. Well, a lot of the book it's really some part or a large part of it is a manifesto for exponential productivity. We live in a world right now where a lot of us are suffering from broken focus syndrome. And an addiction to distraction is the death of our creative production. And I think if we want to live much more heroic lives, I think it's incredibly important for us to honor our talents by being more productive and doing our finest work. And so there's a chapter in the book. It's all about the IPOP principle, which is positivity, output positivity. And a lot of us, we want to be more productive, but our ecosystem or our environment is very toxic. We not only have a workplace that might not be full of light and inspirational, but the places where we spend our time every day are negative and draining. There's a lot in the book about how to release energy vampires from our lives. I think we can be around energy vampires, or we can change the world. We don't get to do both. So yes, our environment is incredibly important. I mean, human beings have incredible gifts. When we were little kids, we had such a sparkle in our eye. We wanted to change the world. We wanted to be astronauts and superheroes and business titans and firefighters. And then what happens is as we go through life, we pick up the messaging of the world and we're taught to fear, we're taught to doubt, we're taught to disbelieve. We get addicted to our phones, we get addicted to the news, we get addicted to toxicity, and we wonder why we're not pushing magic into the world. And so a key point is really to architect or create an environment, the people around you, the places around you that fill you with joy. And the places where your joy lives are the places where you're meant to be.
Mm-hmm. I completely agree. And I usually tell my students, like, we're a channel for all these energies, for magic, for creativity. We are a clear channel for well, I use the word divine, but in my vocabulary, we are a channel for the divine. And when this field is contaminated, then it happens what you're saying. We lose this motivation, or we don't honor really what we came here to do. Another thing that you speak a lot about, this greatness, this you came here to do something great. Like, you came here to live an epic life. Can you tell me more about this?
Well, I think there are no extra people on the planet. And a lot of good souls, they want to live a world-class life, but they're not doing the things required of a world-class life. It's very easy to play a victim, especially in the world right now. It's very easy to create a story. These people are successful. These people have money. These people are healthy. These people have love in their lives. These people, are full of joy. But those things are created by installing the right mindsets, heart sets, habits, systems, daily protocols. And the Everyday Hero Manifesto is really is a manifesto where I'm sharing some of the most valuable ideas, tools, models, and systems to help people live that kind of a life. So yes, I believe every single one of us, when we were kids, we were very innocent, we were very brave, we were very creative, we were very true to ourselves. And then the world teaches us to live in a box, to think like everyone else, to follow the herd. So, greatness is a term that's overused, but I think we really all have this incredible magic within us that longs to see the light of day. And if we're addicted to our phones, if we're addicted to worry, if we're addicted to toxic behaviors, if we're addicted to being a victim, if we're addicted to saying can't, if we're addicted to making excuses, if we're addicted to blaming, then we'll never honor the light within us, which really is the gifts and the talents that allow us to do great things.
And you say we have to be willing to do what 95% of the people are not willing to do.
Yeah, one of the brain tattoos in the book is to have the results only 5% of the population has. We've got to be willing to do what 95% of the people are unwilling to do. And I think I'll repeat it because I think it's really important. So many of us have enormous talent, but we want world-class lives, but we're not willing to do what world-class requires. So I mean, that would be like Michael Jordan became Michael Jordan by doing the things that Michael Jordan does, right? A great athlete doesn't all. There's a great line that's attributed to Greg LeMond, the Tour de France winner, and he said, "It never got easier. I just got faster." And society teaches us, go for the easy route, go for the easy relationship, do the easy work, hang out with the easy friends, read the easy books, do the easy workouts. Part of the message of Everyday Hero Manifesto is there is no payoff in easy. It's doing difficult work that actually makes you a master. It's doing the difficult work. It's taking risks that, a lot of us, we play very small and we don't take risks. That's actually the most dangerous way to live, because then you get to the last hour of your last day and you say, I never got to know my talents. I never developed my strengths. I never developed wisdom. I never did anything great.
A lot of people tell me, a lot of my followers and students, one of their biggest questions is, what if I don't know what my purpose is? What would you recommend for those who are like, okay, yes, the Everyday Hero sounds amazing, but what if I don't know what I'm here for? What if I'm confused? What if I have no motivation right now? Where do I begin besides reading the book?
Well, I think motivation and purpose are two different things. I think if you're looking for more inspiration, that conversation is about do the things that generate inspiration. I'm in Rome here. If I want inspiration, I'll go to the art galleries. I'll go to Villa Borghese and walk with the flowers. I'll have a conversation with an interesting person. I'll read a book like the Meditations of Marcus Aurelius. I will do an early morning workout. I will pray. I will write in a journal. There are so many things I talk about in the book to develop inspiration. But if we're watching films every night and playing with video games and, eating too much, and we're not going to develop that soaring inspiration that we all can have. And I could go to the neuroscience and talk about flow state or transient hypofrontality, which is the brain state we all can develop where we inhabit the universe of genius. But most of us aren't doing the things required that allow us to do that. So that's inspiration. If you're looking, how do you find your purpose? I'd say, what's the big attraction with finding your purpose? Why not live in the moment?
Mm-hmm.
If we're so busy seeking the mountaintop, we're going to miss the climb that will lead us to the mountaintop. So I'd say, lead where you're planted. Forget about your purpose. Trust life. Inhabit the present moment. Live in today. Your days, as I say in the Everyday Hero Manifesto, your days are your life in miniature. Forget about being great. Forget about finding your purpose. Someone on Instagram sent me a DM the other day. How can I be a billionaire? Why do you want to be a Why do you, again, this cultural attraction, I want to be a billionaire. Why? To live a beautiful life requires so little, right? And a lot of billionaires are suffering from the death of complexity. They have so many worries, they don't enjoy life. Some of the happiest people live the simplest lives. So on the point about purpose, you can forget about your purpose, learn to do amazing work today, learn to honor yourself today, learn to find the magic in today. Your days slip into weeks, your weeks slip into months, your months slip into years. At the end of your life, you found your purpose and it was living in each day.
Amen. Curiosity for the present moment.
Yeah, I mean,
that's beautiful.
There's,
what you just said.
It's like the person, two people looked out of the prison cell, right? One saw the bars, one saw the stars. If you're always grasping for purpose, grasping for more money, grasping for more likes, grasping for more followers, grasping for more fame, you will not be doing the work and becoming the person that will actually give you the fame, give you the purpose, give you the meaning.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's one of the things that I love the most about this book. It really inspired me. And last night I was reading the chapter on exactly what you said about the billionaires, the traps in having more money, or in having a bigger platform, or in, I don't know, in your case, maybe writing more, like having best-selling books. And with there's always the little traps that our ego or that our life can get caught in when we go big as well. So it's not as simple as just saying, how can I be a billionaire? You really have to be able to hold that. Like, you have to be the container to be able to hold that energy with presence, limits, and an inner strength in order to be that.
Yeah, it's become the person you want your life to be, but the book, there's part of it is I think it's a very odd book, because part of it is metaphysical. I talk about how do you materialize prosperity, right? The free money model, that whole model towards the end. I talk about, death is just a hotel room upgrade towards the end of the book. So many people are talking about legacy. I wrote a book 25 years ago called Who Will Cry When You Die? But at the end of the Everyday Hero Manifesto, I say, forget about legacy. Forget about having your name on a hospital wing. That's just an ego pursuit. Who cares about legacy? Because legacy is how you're remembered when you're dead. And then when you're dead, who cares? You're dead. Why not live while you're alive? So there are metaphysical ideas in the book, but a lot of the book is very much a hardcore book on focus, on productivity, on doing genius grade work, on clearing up your life from the energy vampires, and about daily happiness. So, it's not only, as you know, it's Maria, it's not only a metaphysical book, it's a tactical book on, I think, and I'd love to know your truthful opinion, but I think it's really a manifesto on how do you live a soaring life and honor our gifts and genius and talent while we make the world a better place.
It's an inspiration. I picked up the book, and initially I was a little bit slow at the beginning, but once I got into it, I couldn't put it down. And it has everything, because you do speak about certain life truths, but at the same time, you speak about how to eat healthy, how to be more productive, how to really establish those everyday things that form the world that we live in. Something else I wanted to speak to you about. You speak about the importance of body, making sure your body is on point.
Yes. I'm with you.
Okay. Yeah. I was wondering if you could give us, sorry, I thought you were picking something. I wanted to ask you if you could give us a few maybe tips. Okay, one of the things that my followers, again, we're sharing this interview with them, so I'm trying to bring in as many questions that they had or they might have for you.
Great.
One, or not only my followers, but everybody in Latin America watching. One of the things that stresses most of the people when they reach out to me is there's a lot of rules. So I need to eat by this time, wake up by this time. It seems like the physical body has become another to-do list. How can we create this with more flow, maybe with less pressure as, am I doing it correctly or am I not doing it correctly?
So the reason I was reaching is I wanted to get a copy of the book, because there's a whole chapter you talk about health and the body. So that's chapter 16, guard good health like a pro athlete. And in there, I mean, the book has a lot of models and systems. And one of the models, which is very disruptive, because everyone is talking about mindset. Get your mindset right. Mindset is everything. Maria, I believe that mindset is only our psychology. Of course, it's incredibly important to get your mindset right, your beliefs, because our daily behavior reflects our deepest beliefs. If we have the beliefs of poverty, scarcity, fear, apathy, victimhood, our daily behavior will always be aligned with our psychology. But that's only 25% of the personal mastery equation. The second element is your heart set. I don't know if I can show you that here, but it's heart set. Because we're not only our psychology, we have this dimension of what I call emotionality. We feel wonder, joy, gratitude, happiness. We feel sadness, anger, shame, guilt. It's not until we work on our psychology and increasing and elevating and purifying our heart set that we start to achieve excellent results in productivity, performance, and living a great life. But it's not only mindset and heart set, it's this third word, health set, which we're going to talk about. And then there's soul set. People could say, well, your followers, I'm sure, would appreciate soul set, but some people would say, is that relevant? Well, that fourth dimension is incredibly important, because our soul set is really our spiritual life. And our spiritual life really doesn't have anything to do with religion. Our spiritual life is our connection, not with our egoic self, but with our heroic self. So once we start working on that every day, we start really working on the four key, what I call interior empires. Then we get to this model right here, which is you talk about the body, your health, and it's the trinity of radiant vitality: exercise, nutrition, and recovery. And the book explains daily tactics that you can use to really significantly upgrade your energy, increase your body, increase the way that you feel, and extend your life for longevity. Your question is, well, what about all these rules? I would say study the rule. I think it was Picasso who said, study the rules so you can break the rules.
Yeah, I know.
So yeah. I think dogma, like feeling that you have to follow all these rules, not only in the Everyday Hero Manifesto, but in life, that puts you in a box. And I think, for example, eating, I talk about intermittent fasting in the book, but sometimes I'm hungry, so I eat. I think it's, our instinct is so much more powerful than our intellect. Our intellect is just what we've been taught. But our instinct is really the voice of our higher wisdom. And so I would say, for example, with respect to that model I just showed you, the trinity of radiant vitality, learn about biohacking, learn about epigenetics, what I share, learn about exercise, learn about good sleep, learn about the 5 a.m. club ritual and setting a world-class morning routine. Very powerful. A lot of most successful people in the world have an amazing morning routine, and then make it your own and trust yourself. I think one of the biggest mistakes we make as human beings is we follow the crowd versus honoring our own voice. I mean, I used to be a litigation lawyer. The world said, be a litigation lawyer, you'll be successful. I became successful. I made a lot of money, and I was completely empty. It's only when I started trusting my instinct and following the leads and the clues that my life started to really work.
Beautifully said. I think we have a lot of inner work to do in this time of that we're living through collectively, and it really boils down to we create our reality, and it is within us in order to create a better world. And one of the questions I have, and I don't kind of want to bring it too much to this subject because I know the book covers like many areas. How does a hero find the strength to continue when the exterior world sometimes is perceived as difficult, or for example, the environment is such a challenge? And I, for one, like I said, I love nature, and sometimes I feel like, okay, what is the point of all of this if it seems like it's not getting any better? And we can relate this to many other areas, and we are all have different passions or things that activism, like things that we want to change in the world. So how does a hero find strength to continue when faced with adversity or things not happening as we desire?
It's an excellent question, Maria. And I think the very nature of the question speaks to one of the greatest of all lessons for this earth walk that we're on. And it's learning to let go. You see, I think the great spiritual masters, they were in the world, but they were not of the world. And there's a chapter in the Everyday Hero Manifesto about my house. I don't know if you remember, it was maybe towards the end, maybe you haven't got to it yet. But I lived in this house, and it used to be beautiful, and it was wonderful, and it had all these places where I'd mountain bike ride, and it was very quiet. And all of a sudden, the city I used to live in expanded, and all of a sudden there were airplanes going over, and I was in my mountain bike woods, and there were too many tourists. I call them tourists, and people with dogs who were running everywhere. It was just wild. And I think the lesson I was being taught by the world or by the universe was to let go. And I think, again, with respect to your question on adversity, yes. And people would say, well, you're not being realistic, Robin. Well, getting to your mountaintop of heroism and spirituality and total inner peace, it's an ideal. It is idealistic. We aspire to it. It might take me 1,000 more lifetimes. But I'll tell you one thing, I am much more detached from the world than I was even 5 years ago, thanks to all my inner work, whether it's sweat lodges and prayer and meditation and healing sessions, etc. I don't know if I'm being clear. I'm simply saying the very nature of adversity means you're plugged into the adversity. And I talk a lot in the Everyday Hero Manifesto about this. Victims see adversity and they blame and they complain and they wait. When will the pandemic be over? When will the world be safe again? When will it be like it was in February 2019? Well, it's never going to be like that. Kansas has gone bye-bye. Remember the Matrix. Kansas has gone bye-bye.
There's no turning back.
There's no turning back. And the real key, as you know, Maria, is how can we use what is currently going on in the world to make ourselves better? If we cannot go, in some countries, you can't go out. If we can't go out, go within. If the economy is falling apart because of everything that's happened, ask yourself, what does my marketplace require that no other person is delivering, and serve that need? That's what entrepreneurs do. If you're feeling fear, you have fear within you. The current world simply activated your fear. Work with that fear, honor that fear, befriend that fear so you can release that fear. Pain, oh, pain is so bad. The culture says pain is bad. If you've had a heartbreak, an illness, a loss, pain is bad. Medicate yourself. That's why there's a chapter in the Everyday Hero Manifesto, the big lie of positive thinking. The world says right now, oh, the world is messy, be positive. No, you wouldn't be human if you didn't feel bad. You wouldn't be human if you weren't suffering even from the collective trauma we've all gone through.
Yeah.
But work with it. Notice the trauma. Pain. I write a lot about the pain I've gone through. Mm-hmm. I used the pain to purify me. Pain is the world, society says, run from pain. I say, stay in the pain. Let it wash through you and wash out of you, because once the pain is over, you will be at a whole new level of creativity, productivity, strength, love, and humanity.
And you speak a lot about trauma as well, the need to address trauma and work through it in the physical body in order to release it, to, again, be able to receive more creativity, more inspiration, and act better on this world.
It's true, because I'm going to make a link that isn't so common, and it's contrarian. There's a big link between suppressed trauma and low productivity. See, a lot of the thoughts on productivity are, read the book on productivity, get up early, grind, hustle and grind, et cetera, but often it doesn't work because we end up sabotaging ourselves. We all pick up micro and macro trauma as we go through life, every one of us. Some people think trauma, oh, I haven't been abused. That's macro trauma. But there's also the micro trauma of not getting invited to a party when you're a little kid, or maybe your mother, father, or teacher saying, no, you can't do what you want to do. Don't be foolish, be practical. And we pick up this trauma as we go through life, and it creates what I call a field of hurt. And this field of hurt is an energy field: anger, shame, guilt, all these lower grade emotions. And it builds up. Imagine that energy field, and it's blocking us from our heroism. It's blocking us from our energy. It's blocking us from intimacy with the truth. We know the truth. We know what we should do. We have such energy. We could create masterwork. We have all this dark energy, and it's invisible and it's subconscious. Carl Jung talked a lot about it. He called it the shadow side. So those chapters in the Everyday Hero Manifesto that talk about trauma, it's not just trauma for the sake of trauma. It's once you learn to clear your trauma, that's when you download magical insights that allow you to dominate your domain. That's when you become intimate. You have so much energy, you automatically get up at 4:30 or 5 o'clock because you don't have that energy. You automatically bring into your life people at the same vibration that you're at. You forget about your ego and getting more followers and making more money, and you become really an instrument of service ready to change the world. That's the power of doing your inner healing. It's not just mindset. It's heart set, health set, soul set.
Yeah, and you care less about what other people think as well.
Totally.
I think it was in your 40 things I learned by the age. That was my favorite chapter. I just turned 40 this year, and that was my favorite. I was like, yes. Care less about what other people's opinions or what they have to say about my life, and like really just act from the heart and like let go a little, care less.
I mean, think about the great heroes. So a lot of the through line of the book is really everyday heroism. We all can be heroic in our own way. But if you look at a lot of the famous heroes, Rosa Parks, Nelson Mandela, Hedy Lamarr, Albert Einstein, William Shakespeare, Jean-Michel Basquiat. Here in Rome, I went to the Damien Hirst exhibit. I don't know if you're familiar with Damien Hirst's art, but it's just like, it's so different from everything else.
Yeah.
But, every visionary was initially ridiculed before they were revered. And so by trusting ourselves and not listening to everyone else's opinions and forgetting about what the cool crowd is doing, and that comes with a lot of inner work, like little work every day makes you heroic over time. Another key point of the book: small, daily, seemingly insignificant improvements, when done consistently over time, lead to stunning results. But then you get to a place where it's like, I don't really care what other people think. And there's a chapter in the book, The 13 Traits of the Billionaires I've Mentored. One of the biggest ones. They do not care what anyone thinks. Because look at Elon Musk. If he cared about what other people thought, he wouldn't pursue Tesla. He wouldn't do SpaceX. So absolutely, it's like you can listen to people's opinions, or you can live a great life. You can't do both.
Yeah, I completely agree with this. Let me see, I have so many questions here for you. The way we speak to ourselves, the importance of the way we speak to ourselves. Can you just briefly, I know we have a few minutes left, but the can't wording, how we speak to ourselves creates our reality. And this part is something you mention a lot. Maybe training the mind, observing our thoughts. It all comes down to being present, right? To being here now, observing ourselves in the present moment.
Well, I think the DNA of transformation is awareness. So we live in a world right now, everything's tactics. Give me the tactics. Give me the how-to. The book is full of tactics, but philosophy is really important. Philosophy is, what are the values I want to live by? What are the truths? So philosophy plus tactics lead us into a great life. So awareness is awareness of the truths, awareness of the principles of a great life, awareness of how to do it, the how, and so becoming more aware of the language we use and understanding that the words you use create your self-identity, and your income and your impact are dramatically associated with your self-identity. Everyone watching can do amazing things in the world. But if our self-identity is one where we don't think we can be heroic, we don't think we can be masters of our craft, we don't think we can be prosperous, we don't think we can be healthy, that self-identity becomes an internal limiter subconsciously. So the chapter you're referring to is called The Victim to Hero Leap. And it's a model. It has 5 leaps for anyone who's stuck in victimhood, how to get to heroism and world-class performance. And one of them is, victims are all about can't. And I shared a story in the book. I was giving a presentation. I was in Europe. There were 2 gentlemen driving me and the teammate I travel with back to the airport. And he said, "Where do you live?" And I said, "Canada." And the whole trip back to the airport, I'm not judging, I'm just reporting. But he kept on saying, "It's not possible. I'd love to go to Canada. It's not possible, but I know it's not possible. I'd love to live there, but I know it's not possible." And he had installed a belief system, a mentality of can't versus a mindset of can. And in his mind, it was just, it's not possible. But of course it's possible. People move to different countries every single day. So you can tell a victim through their language. And if you look at the great heroes, they use the vocabulary of hope versus the language of impossibility. Our thoughts are incredibly powerful. I hear people talk, I was joking around a little bit, but I say, the way to enlightenment is not giving an FU. You know what? You look at our culture right now, you wear some cool sneakers and it's like you've got sick kicks, It's like, I hate this. Sick. This is sick. Someone says, "Oh, look what I did today." "Oh, that's crazy, man. That's crazy."
Yeah.
Words mean what words say. And if you say, "You just did a great presentation, Maria. You killed it." I don't think kill's a great word. "You were amazing the other day on the Instagram Live. You murdered it." I don't want to murder anything. Words are, I might be a bit old school on this, but words are incredibly powerful.
Yeah, I have to take that one. That one really resonated with me as well, because I do have that. I tend to use a few of those prefixes to I tend to add a little bit of those words to my phrases that you mentioned. And I'm going to start watching out, because it did make me reflect a lot on the power of my vocabulary in my everyday life and what I'm bringing to myself. Robin, one last, sorry, go ahead.
If I may, Maria,
Mm-hmm.
Nelson Mandela and Mother Teresa and Mahatma Gandhi and Winston Churchill and It was all through their words. They launched movements. They freed nations. It was just through their words. That's how powerful words are. This morning I was in the gym and I was doing mountain climbers. I don't know if you do mountain climbers. They're so challenging. And my trainer said, like I had 20 left to do. And she said, mountain climbers seem like they're going forever. And that statement made it feel like 10 times harder. And so words are incredibly powerful in to be more productive, to lead people, to have more energy, to live better lives.
Yeah, it's very, very important how we speak to ourselves. And definitely, again, it goes down to taking care of ourselves, being in the present moment, observing, and trying to make every single second the sum, like adding it all up to make it something amazing. We have a few minutes left, but I wanted to briefly ask you on social media. We mentioned it at the beginning of the call. One of the biggest, probably, I want to say obstacles, but challenges that I find a lot of people face right now is the addiction to time on the cell phone, to social media, comparison in social media, and drainage of energy. It's like, it's a vortex. Like your energy just leaves, and it's difficult to be present in this reality that we live around us, right? It's easy to create even like I would say a parallel reality that sometimes doesn't even exist, and the parallel identity that sometimes doesn't even exist. So I know we don't have that much time left, but maybe a few recommendations for somebody who is feeling in that space, in that vortex.
Yeah, so absolutely great question and very fair. In the Everyday Hero Manifesto, there's a chapter called the Pyramid of Peak Productivity. And one of the elements of it is each day enter a tight bubble of total focus. You see, one of the traits of the great geniuses, they spend a lot of time alone and they spend a lot of time without distraction. That's why they go to their studio and they wouldn't talk to anyone, because then you can get into flow state. Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi, University of Chicago, coined this term called flow state. So what I would say is it's really important every day to spend at least a few hours without any technology and without any distraction. What are some specific tactics? Turn your phone off. Put it in another room. Put it in the trunk of your car. Once a week, give yourself what I call in the book a zero device day. No technology, art gallery, go get a massage, go for a walk, go write in a journal at least once a day. Otherwise, you're going to suffer from attention residue, and you're going to be really addicted to playing with the devices. And then I'd also say, you can play with your phone or you can change the world. You don't get to do both. And I would also say another thing, we all know this, but a lot of what you see on social media is complete illusion, right? It's like a calibrated life of what we want you to see or what someone wants you to see that really isn't true. So why would you just follow illusion? Like why worry a lot about watching someone else's life? Why not spend most of your day building your own great life?
Yeah. One last message that you would say, or what's your favorite part of your book? What is your favorite, like if I just had one thing to say about my book that I feel is like, the power of words, like you want to channel this information or bring it from the universe of love, this infinite field of love that we hold, and you want to anchor it down into the earth right now, what would it be?
Well, I think it would be the first chapter, which is it's a statement, like 30 lines, like a code on how do you become an everyday hero manifesto. And it has all these things like, it's about, you're not a sheep, you're a lion. Your past will not define your future. It talks about forgiveness. It talks about how, life is too short to play small with your talents. And it just has a lot of what I believe to be truths that I've learned over 25 years, in this field. And I think, if I had to summarize a lot of the book, it really is, we are waiting for a lot of heroes in the world right now to out of the darkness. But Christopher Morley said it well. He said, why curse the darkness when you can light the candle? And the Everyday Hero Manifesto is really about lighting your candle. And how do you do it? Because, we can blame, but blaming is nothing more than excusing ourselves. And we all have incredible power, but most of us are disconnected with that power. And that's why we're unhappy, and that's why we blame. Once we take our power back and learn how to live our gifts and our talents, day by day, we steadily live much better lives. It doesn't happen in an instant, but it's amazing how far you can get in a few months or even a few weeks.
Mm-hmm. Well, I could speak to you for hours, listen to you for hours and hours. I haven't done much speaking. I like to there's so much wisdom in you and so much I want to just bring out from this interview. Yeah, and to be of service as well. I forgot to touch on that point. That was so important in your book, to be of service, to give back to the world what we came here to, our gifts, our talents. Just for everybody watching, the book is already out in bookstores in Latin America. It is an amazing, beautiful book. And I wanted to thank you as well for bringing this into the world right now. I think it's very much needed and it's a gift to this world. So thank you for your service and the light you anchor here, or the inspiration, or however you want to call it, the motivation, the presence, just the information, the knowledge that you bring into this world.
Maria, thank you so much for your time and your great questions and your interest and enthusiasm. You talked about service. When I was growing up, my dad used to say, Robin, when you were born, you cried while the world rejoiced. He said, son, live your life in such a way that when you die, the world cries while you rejoice. And I think ultimately, life is about service. So I'm glad you ended on that key point. It's we get great joy when we lift other people up, not when we lift ourselves up.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. I love it. Thank you so much for your time. And I hope you enjoy Rome. Rome, you said you were in Rome, right?
Rome, yeah. Yeah.
I hope you go out and enjoy Rome and have an amazing, beautiful afternoon.
Thank you. And for all my Latin American readers who've supported me over so many years, just, muchas gracias. And I'm so honored. And I hope you love the Everyday Hero Manifesto.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Robin.
Cool. Thanks, Maria.
Take care. Bye.